Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Hagayama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to Be Your Own Hero. I'm a stage 4 prostate, bone, and lung cancer patient. Been dealing with cancer since early 2021. There's a lot going on, but what I want to do is move right into our conversation with Mr. Georges Cordoba. And this will be part 3 of our three-part interview, conversation, whatever you want to call it. But Georges is somebody I just really enjoy speaking with because we're on the same level as far as understanding and what our cancer journeys have been. And so what I like to do is bring back on Georges, and George, please share with us who you are real briefly, because
Hmm.
they've already seen a couple of
Yeah.
interviews by now, and we'll get
Yes.
into our conversation.
Sure. And by the way, it's part three because we're like-minded as well. It's not that we share the same experience, but it is wonderful to talk to you and share some of this stuff that are key. They're simple, but people don't know about them or they don't put them to action. But my name is Georges Cordoba. I am a cancer survivor. I survived the battle, a 10-year battle of melanoma. It ended up going to my brain. I had four craniotomies and two gamma knives, and still two of the eight tumors that I had as metastasis were not operable. But many things happen. We've discussed several things in terms of diseases. Disease actually, yes, it manifests in our physical body, but it really, the cause is never there. Even if, and we'll talk about some today about dieting, but everything starts in the gut, but it's not because of just because of what we eat, and we'll discuss that in a second. But I'm here with Mark again. We want to just share some things with you, and I hope once we're done with this and this three-part series that we did, you get to understand that you can move your mountains, whether it's cancer, another chronic disease, divorce, drug addiction, whatnot. I mean, we all have mountains to move all the time. Mine was, and probably Mark's, the steepest ones for me has been cancer, but they keep coming around. And but I learned that we can move them, and so that's it. I am glad to be back here, Mark.
Thank you so much, Georges. So our first topic is one that I really enjoy talking about, and it is the word fear. And there's a lot of acronyms for fear. And one of my favorite is false evidence appearing real, fear. And that's basically what fear can be, is things that we manifest in our mind that all of a sudden we keep telling ourselves is such a bad thing, and then our mind starts believing in it. So I'm gonna throw it to you, Georges. Uh, let's talk about fear and how fear can affect a cancer journey. And it can start right away with the diagnosis. And that has a lot of fear. So what are your
Yes.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, fear, um, it's really something that is natural for us because we have this gentleman or lady called ego. Our ego is the one that it's always trying to protect us. So it's always worrying about us going a little step forward, getting out of our comfort zone. We may be fearing something because we grew up seeing everybody else. So that was me. From my mother's side of the family, everyone, almost everyone, passed from cancer. So I feared the disease. And remember the secret, what you say in your mind, and you get what you don't want, you get it. And I was always wondering, man, I'm doomed. I fear the disease, the cancer, and it came. I was diagnosed. And so more fear came and anxiety and it was just an emotional roller coaster for a few weeks. And if we don't recognize this fear and understand, I really loved what you said, false evidence appearing real. Like I say, I always learn something new, and I like this. But fear in a cancer patient and a person that is dealing with cancer, it is really a normal thing, but we need to learn how to manage it. Okay. I always say that fear is the opposite of faith. Okay, so, and faith is the certainty of what you want, because you know there's some source that would help you as long as you take action. There's no magic wand, but we do have the power to heal. All right, if you listen to the other two parts, there's plenty of that. Now, I just wrote about why some people heal and why some people don't heal. That's what I write every Sunday. I write a reflection email to a large list, reflection or coaching tips. And the title of this one was Why Some People Don't Heal. Well, to make it kind of like summarize it, some people don't heal because because of the fear and anxiety, they never look up and see that there are alternatives. They go to one source, and if that's not working out, they have nothing else to do. They're just, my goodness, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna go to a corner of my house and just be a victim. Because there's fear of the unknown. The mind, we talked about it last week, goes to what is familiar. Again, familiarity has nothing to do with fear. So we have no fear to go to a traditional medicine and get chemotherapy and radiotherapy. But God forbid they tell you, hey, you could try this stuff as well. You don't have to drop what you're doing, but try this and see what's going on. So some people don't heal because they don't open up. They don't open up and understand that they have the power to heal, that if they got sick and they take responsibility for that illness, they also have the power to undo that from the inside out. But we need to take the fear and say it, even talk to it, or the ego, say, you know what? I'll be the pilot. I'm going to drive this. If you want to come with me, get in the back seat. But I do not. I'm not scared. There was a movie back, I don't know, maybe 2 decades ago. It was I Bought a Zoo, and with Matt Damon, I think he was in there, and I loved it because he kept using this 20-second rule. If you're worried about taking a step, just do it in 20 seconds. Don't worry about it. Just have faith that you're just going to do it in 20 seconds, and you'll see what happens. All of a sudden, that monster that you had in front of you seems to be a little ant. So it's all like it says, appearing real. It's not real. Fear is something that is embedded to us, and the ego takes care of managing that. If you are capable to say, I'm going to take 20 seconds to do this stuff. I'm going to make the decision to try this out. I'm going to take 20 seconds, no fear. I'm going to go and do whatever I like instead of staying home and being a patient. Fear makes you give your power to other entities. And many people do this. Many people see their doctor, their oncologist, as a God that is going to come and heal them. And they don't heal. What heals is you from the inside out with the help of that source that is bigger than all of us. And so if I used to tell, and I tell some clients that, it's something that you can manage from the inside out. Now, there are things that you can do just like you are comfortable, or the mind is comfortable going to what's familiar. You can use the mind for repetition, and you can just, if you take a few deep breaths and you basically say it 20 times, I am fearless, I am fearless, I am fearless. Guess what? The mind learns by repetition. All of a sudden, you start feeling this confidence that starts coming up. Maybe in 3 days, depending on your mindset, but it could really happen very quickly. You just continue to say, I'm fearless, I'm fearless, and it happens. All of a sudden, you feel more confident. And also, you should work on visualizing yourself healing. If you are somebody that is going through cancer, or you are a caregiver, the mind, the mind, you can control your fear, but you can make things happen. I did it, and I had the training because I was an athlete. I played tennis for collegiately, and I tried professionally, and I learned how to visualize, so I could manage my matches. I could manage somebody that maybe came to see me. Like I was telling Mark, my dad was a Davis Cup player, so when he showed up to my matches, I would play like really bad. And so I had to really outgrow that if I wanted to be in big crowds, or if I had to be like, let's say, the not the favorite in that crowd. You need to manage how to deal with this mentally. Well, this is it's the same with any disease or any mountain that you're looking to move. If you're
Let
looking
me
for,
pause you there,
go ahead.
Georges, for a second. When when cancer patients get the diagnosis, or any disease for that matter, in general, what happens is one of the reasons that we have fear is it's coming from the exterior. It's coming from the
Yes,
outside. And
excellent point.
you hear it in the media, you hear it from family, you hear it from friends, and everybody. I mean, you're just bombarded. I was bombarded. I was to the point
Yes,
where I was like, no more. I'm just
yes.
gonna be like a horse with blinders, and I'm just gonna focus and not listen to all the noise, because everybody, when you have cancer, everybody has a cure, because they come and they
Oh
come and
yeah,
tell you, oh, I know a guy.
yeah.
It's always, I know a guy who cured his cancer, and you should do this. I had one person that was referred to me, and this guy lived in Costa Rica, and he says, I have this machine. And I was familiar with who he was talking about, because I was working with somebody who dealt with sound frequency therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And what he told me just kind of really etched in my mind. And he said, you really have to do this, because I've cured, everybody that I've dealt with. And so what he said just really was resonating with me, but we couldn't, you know, work it out. I was very, very weak, and so I couldn't travel,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. Um, and he basically said, I could cure all of your cancers between prostate, bone, and lung cancer. I know I could cure the prostate and the lungs, but he said, I'm not totally sure if I can cure the bones, because I haven't dealt with it yet. And that's always been a problem area. But he said, I have great confidence that I could cure that. And so it got etched in my mind that this guy was the answer. Anyway, that was on me, because it wasn't good for me to tell myself that this guy is the answer when I didn't have all the
Yeah.
logistics taken care of. So to make a long story short, it never happened that I went to him, and I had to find other alternatives in order. So it's other people can come to you and affect your psyche and affect your mindsets
Absolutely.
and bring fear into your mind. And there's just
Absolutely.
so much uncertainty,
That
particularly at the beginning,
it's a
that,
great point.
yeah,
Great point.
you want to
Yeah,
talk about that?
yes, and actually, I talk about that also in my book. You could actually even go crazy with so many, you even if you just make the mistake to go to Google and all the alternatives, and then like you said, I know I have a cousin of a cousin that this and that and that, and all of a sudden, you know, you start becoming confused. But the other thing is that because um, everybody sees cancer in uppercase letters and bolded, when they see that you have cancer, they come to you with this face. Oh, how you doing, Mark? Is everything okay, man? You can do it. Have faith. You just have faith. And I always, when I heard those things, I would think sometimes, oh, thank you. But I had no idea in the beginning how much that was affecting me, including friends and family.
Right,
They have no negative intentions. It's just the way it is. But
right.
if you get confused with so many solutions that they are there, and then on top of that you allow to swallow the fear energy that others uh, present to you when they're talking to you, man, it's really a rough journey. What I did in terms of all that was just meditate and get myself ready before I left the door for every day. So when people will come and say, like almost with pity, how are you doing, George? I said, man, I'm doing great. How about you? How are you doing? And they would really like being shocking sometimes and says, oh, wow, you really are doing good. Huh? You look good. See, everything changes. And so there are many things with this fear, especially in the beginning. But then, in many cases, you started in 2001. In my case, I went 10 years with this. When you get the recurrence, you go with it all over again. You just go again, oh my goodness, this didn't work, and this and that. And that's why sometimes if you are not really connected within, you will probably continue to do your your traditional stuff, and somewhere inside that it's not working for you. So we own our disease. We have the power. We don't give the power to others. And so many times we do this, especially with doctors, because of our own fear. We don't believe we can deal with it, and actually we do. Um, when you faith, by the way, is the contrary of fear. We just said it a second ago. It's the opposite of fear. And faith is the certainty of what you want. When I talk about you can move your mountains, I usually I have a keynote talk that is titled You Can Move Your Mountains. And it's all based on the famous biblical verse, if you have faith as little or as big as a mustard seed, you will tell this mountain, move from here to there, and the mountain will move. And Mark is showing that he's moving his mountain. I moved mine, and I've had others. When you go through cancer, probably, or any chronic disease, that you have to deal with a new lifestyle. You have to go to the doctor and doing biopsies and surgery and all that. It's expensive. So you have the financial mountain all of a sudden in front of you. And if you have kids, whoa, the mountain is steeper. So, but if you understand, and this is something that I have to say because it worked for me. I'm obviously, I'm a person of faith. I'm a Christian, Catholic Christian, and I love my guru is Jesus as a master, as a man. That guy taught service and love. But the important thing with what I'm saying right now is that if God takes care of the birds and the flowers, and how about you? We were made in God's image. So, but why don't we really say, well, that's true, but what does it have to do with my disease? Well, it has a lot to do with your disease because it is said that if you put your faith into action, and that means when you do that, fear starts going away because now you're certain that you're taking action, and that's really the key right here when we talk about fear is really understanding that we have this internal power that many people call it the infinite wisdom of the subconscious mind. Other people, you can call it anything else, but it is inside of us. We have this intuition and this power that we give away. And all of a sudden we go, the doctor said, the other doctor said, and I have to, and they don't eat this, don't eat that. We know what we need to do. And you can actually reach the different people to help you out with this. Because the reality is, you're not going to have a doctor. Well, it may be exceptions for sure, but the vast majority will not tell you, hey, just make sure that you do. They're not nutritionists. They're not spiritual leaders. They're not psychologists. They're just acupuncturists. All they know is one thing, and there's so many other things that would help you, make progress. And then all of a sudden, because you're taking action and you're seeing results, the fear is starting to move a little bit to the side. And you all of a sudden say, you understand it. You say, oh, this is the ego. And play a game. I used to play it. I say, hey, you know what? Get out of here. I know what I'm doing. You be okay there if you want to come with me, but I'm going to take this ride. When I decided to go natural on year 7, almost 8, it was I was anxious. I had some fear of failure, and that's really what it is. So we can use fear of failure for everything. Your work situation, a project that you're doing, you want to go for an interview and you don't do it because you're afraid of this thing that will say no, that you fail. And really, when you look at the avatars, or when you look at very successful folks, athletes, or in any aspect of life, they have failed and failed and failed and failed until they make it, you know? And so that's pretty much in terms of fear. It's the opposite of faith, and you take action and you see how that goes away. And that action is within 20 seconds. Whatever little decisions, don't make it longer than that, because then really the ego starts taking over. You just get out of the comfort zone and you'll see how your fear starts diminishing, because, oh, I did it and it wasn't that bad. Next time you'll do it again, and then you'll start managing the fear.
I think another thing too, as far as alleviating fear, is knowledge and
Oh yeah,
learning about
definitely.
we fear as people because we're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of what we don't know. But if you're studying, I every day I try to learn something new. And particularly at the beginning of my cancer journey, I was just so focused every single day to learn as much as I possibly could, you know,
Hmm.
about what I was dealing with.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, by learning on a daily basis, all of a sudden, what are you fearing?
Yes.
You realize, wow, now I understand why this is this way
Yeah.
and why this is that way, because
Yep.
you now have replaced fear with education. You're educating
Yes.
yourself, and that's very, very important.
That that
So,
is it.
Georges, let's hear. more about what you've done with diet. And let me point out at this point in time, we're not doctors, and this is
Yeah,
information that we've used for our own personal journeys. I do have a video on my personal diet. If you ever want to see it, please look on my YouTube channel right here to be your own hero. And it's about a year ago. So you could see it there, or if you can't find it, always message me or you could make a comment in the comment section of YouTube and I'll be happy to get it to you. But Georges, have you what did you do with your diet?
yeah. And one thing real quick, because you mentioned it's a great point. The more knowledge you have, the less fear, because now you know that these things are facts, not appearing real. An ex-president of ours, Ronald Reagan, he said that lack of communication and fear is what causes wars. You're just basically imagining this stuff. It's appearing that they do this and appearing, and there's no communication. So if you don't know their culture, and if you don't talk, if you don't communicate, look at that fear throughout the whole Cold War, and that was just fear based. So anyway, yeah. Well, with diet, when I was playing tennis for competition, and I started that on my freshman year playing NCAA Division I tennis. Even before that, but at that time in the early 80s, several great players started to write books about their nutrition to win. And Eat to Win by Martina Navratilova. Then Jimmy Connors did another one, and different guys that you might not, if you're not in tennis, you don't recognize. But I really started reading those to have an edge in my competition, just like we used mental rehearsing for what I mentioned, to be really your best possible player in a certain moment with visualization. But I did and I did a minor on nutrition back in the day. Things haven't changed that much. I mean, there is a proportion that you have to eat of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Good fats, good carbohydrates, and good proteins. But I did find that, and here, this is a key topic. All disease, my friends, happen in the gut, start in our gut, all of them. And you wonder why. How can a cancer or a heart disease or a hepatitis or diabetes can start over there? Well, the reason for it is because all disease is emotional. And emotions create cortisol. Cortisol disrupts your digestion. So I'm going to start by telling you what I learned, not in college, but when I was deciding to jump ship and go the holistic natural route to heal myself, which it proven to work, as I've been 12 years free of cancer. But the thing with food, first of all, diets don't work. There might be probably as many diets in the world as there's population, and they all say that they all work, and they do. Momentarily, they work. But the moment that you stop them, soon, little by little, you go back to where you were. And the question is why? There's several reasons for that. First of all, diets don't deal with you changing your habits. So you change them for a little bit, 6 weeks or whatever, but you go back to where you were before. That's one of the reasons. But the other one is, and by the way, I do not believe in extremes. I have clients that come like very weak. They're saying that they're vegan. The other guys feeling really bad because they're paleo or keto. I'm a functional nutritionist. I did study that and got my diploma on that, on the digestion and digestive tract. And it so happens that 25% of your diet and your nutrition and digestion is what you eat. And 75% is who you are when you're eating. Here in the United States, the average American chews their food 6 times before they swallow it. When in reality, depending on what kind of food you put in your mouth, you should go to 20 to 32 times before you swallow, because digestion starts in the mouth. So you could be eating the most nutritious plate, but if you're in a hurry, you are stressed out, you remember there's come a song that reminds you of a very bad experience you had, emotional, that produces cortisol, and your nervous system through the vagus nerves tells the gut, hey, you know what? This is not going to be a good digestion because George's is stressed out. So I usually, and we go back to the nutrition, to the actual, I have a couple of things. I'm glad you asked that. But the point is that we need to learn how to eat first. It doesn't matter what you put in your mouth if you don't eat. You take your time to eat. Most people eat in the United States in 10 minutes. You have a whole hour to eat. You don't have to go the whole hour, but take your time to eat. Enjoy. Look at the meal and say, be thankful for it, because 9 out of 10 people are hungry in the world. So be thankful for that meal that you have in front of you, and take your time, savor it. Drop your fork or your knife, both of them, until you swallow, and then take another and make it. If you're eating, I have a son, he was here this weekend. He eats in about 6 minutes, and he buys everything organic. And I said, Thomas, that's not gonna work. You're eating too fast. You're not doing yourself any good. So you might as well eat your junk food, because both ways, if you eat so fast, you're not digesting. If you are, imagine you're having this beautiful salad and you are in a park, and all of a sudden you see this bear coming towards you. You have two choices, and you're eating. You have two choices. You either flight or fight this guy, this bear. And then what you do is you basically say, let me get out of here. At that moment, you're producing cortisol and adrenaline. It goes through your system so you can get out of there. So what happens with your digestion in that moment? It's done, it's shut down. So, but guess what? Our nervous system, especially the sympathetic system, does not know if it was a bear or if you just had an argument with somebody, or you coming very stressed out from traffic, or you just didn't do an errand that you had to do, and now you're eating thinking of all that stuff. It doesn't know. So the bottom line is it shuts your digestion, just like if it was a bear. That what I just told you is one of the biggest tips. If you're looking to lose weight, work on the 75%. Work on who you are when you're eating. Increment your time from 10 minutes to 15. You're chewing. You can even make it a game at the house with everybody. Let's see who chews longer, or and because digestion needs to it happens in the mouth first. With our saliva enzymes actually process the food, so you got to give enough time, enough chews before you swallow it, because the stomach is not designed to take this bomb of food that you just send in. You need to process it in the mouth, and everything else works great. If you don't, and even if you're not stressed out, the stomach does not know what to do. And guess what it does? It starts storing fat. And then little by little, we start inflaming our bodies. And all disease, by the way, happens all chronic disease happen on inflamed bodies. Now, I do have a secret for you guys.
Let me pause you there, Georges, for
Yeah.
1 second. My 10-month-old granddaughter, we cut up the food real small for her because she only has 2 teeth. But
Cool.
this adds to your point. So she just basically kind of like gums it, tastes it, and swallows it because we see it on the back end, pretty much in the same way
Yeah.
that she put it in her mouth. So that just proves
Yes.
the point what you're trying to make. So go
Yes.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. And another thing that I learned with when I really made the decision to go natural, things, I took a leap of faith and it seemed, and I basically share this in my book, it seemed like God, the universe conspired for everything to happen. It just, everything happened for me when I made that decision. And I called all these people that came to my life, some people that I had no idea that they would come forward, but I call them my angels because, and I open my heart. That's another thing. But well, we could spend 2 hours with this. Now, this I went to a naturopath to detox myself, to reset my body. I was undergoing the chemo and radio for 8 years, different chemos, different stuff. I mean, talk about an intoxicated and inflamed body. That was me. And needless to say, that now that I found that up nearly a year and a half ago, that all disease are emotional, and the common denominator is that they happen on inflamed bodies, and we cause this inflammation with stress, we eat fast, etc. So this guy, I get there, and he put me on a 21-day detox program, then 1 week rest, and another 21. But the first day, he says, George, do you know about the pH balance? And I go, well, I've heard about it, but he goes, if I tell you that disease cannot grow on a balanced pH body, would you believe me? And I say, well, yeah. He says, and he goes, and if you have it like you do, you still have your cancer in there, and you manage to have a balanced pH, you're going to start destroying the environment where these cancer cells strive to grow and duplicate and triplicate. And so it made so much sense to me, to the point that I wrote an ebook on that later when I was going through my holistic journey about, okay, what is pH balance? How does it work? And he gave me a quick little story. He says, imagine you have your pool, and I had a pool in my house. If you put too much chlorine in there, it is dangerous to get in there. Your skin is going to have problems, your eyes, your hair, you might lose your hair. On the other hand, if you put enough chlorine in there, it's going to turn green, and you're going to have different types of bacteria that are also dangerous to our health. So the key is to have it balanced. And so that made so much sense to me. And I really started working through the detox to have a pH balance, obviously juicing and all that to get rid of all the toxins. But at the end of the day, what I do is I give my clients that ebook, and I also give them a table of foods that are alkaline and the foods that are acidic. So they can, and I teach them how to create a balanced pH plate. You don't have to go to the extremes. If you really enjoy, not all the time, I don't recommend that, but every hand that you want to have your red meat, is acidic. So make sure that you have asparagus or salad greens with it. And then you have now a pH balance plate, you know. You said you were going to say something, I heard you.
Yeah, uh, George's, what I want to do is invite you back at a later time, and there's so much more we could discuss. But what I want to do is start closing out this particular session.
Yes,
Uh,
no problem.
and we're going to definitely bring you back because you have so much more knowledge that you could share with everyone. Uh, what I want to ask you is if you could summarize, the most important thing you feel that people should know about today, and then I have one final question for you.
Yeah, it's It's not just the body. And people get so worried about their body when they're trying to heal and stuff. You have three other components: your emotions, your mind, and your spirituality. But in terms of what you do with your diet, uh, I would start working on who you are when you are eating. Are you eating too fast? Are you in a hurry? Do you chew very little? Uh, just mark yourself and look at yourself doing that. And I can give you this blunt statement. If you manage to chew more, relax, and eat, let's say, like they say, relax and digest. But let's say you go to 20 minutes, a 20-minute meal slowly, you're gonna lose weight. You're gonna feel that you have some good energy. You're gonna basically you're starting your healing process just by doing that. That's one thing. And on the fear, the best thing I think it was said, you said it. It's really the more knowledge you have, that more power you have and less fear. Because many people have not even an idea. They just have this imagination of the cancer. And so, because they don't read about it, they go and give all the power to the doctor. And that's not good. That it really
Right.
is not good. Yeah.
Absolutely. We've in our three-part series here, we've covered a lot of topics, and hopefully those of you watching out there have learned something that could be beneficial for you, whether you have cancer or not. So, my final question for you is this. In your background, behind you, there's a road. And with that road, that could be like a journey of life.
Mm-hmm.
What would you want to leave with people to how they can benefit the world better and make it a better place by their own life's individual journey? What would you like to share of what they could do? Because
Yeah.
that's what it's going to take to make this world better is if we all contribute and not just one person.
It's awesome, awesome question. I suggest that many people are really caught up, very distracted, and they don't think about it. Some other people are saying, "What is my life purpose? What is my road? What is it?" Just in a nutshell, it has to do with your talents, the talents that you were born with, some of them that you develop. Use them to help others. Use them, whether you don't do it for a living, but and you haven't, just use them. It's really a shame that you don't do that, because by using them, you're gonna take this road that is probably, and now the car is stopped, or you're stopped in there. Once you start serving others and helping others with your talents, you'll see what happens. And you're going to feel that you are on your journey. What is very sad, folks, is to go to the end of our time here and regret the things that we didn't do. Regret that you didn't write a song and you're so talented with poetry, or that, all these things. And not only that, if you find a way, especially nowadays that we have, this technology where you can look Marcus in a different state, and we're like friends now, but you have an opportunity, that to in 20 seconds make a decision and say, well, you know what? I'm very good teaching. Well, go somewhere and teach kids that are underprivileged in a shelter. Find ways to use your talents, because they are connected to your life journey. And it would be sad to say at the end of the day, man, I didn't do anything with this stuff. Yeah.
What an awesome answer, George. It's really phenomenal. Really phenomenal
Thank
answer.
you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for this
Uh,
three-part interview. And then what
Thank
we're going
you.
to do is down the road, next year, probably sometime, we're gonna bring you
Maybe we'll
back.
do a mastermind together or something.
That'd be a
Yeah.
great thing. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll definitely have to connect again and and hopefully you can join us on our cancer conquering community and
Yes.
share more of your expertise. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Thank
And I'd
you.
like to thank each and every one of you out there for joining us here at the Be Your Own Hero. Please like, subscribe, make a comment in the comment section. And I can't top what George has just said. That was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So utilize your talents for the better of the world and
Amen.
for the better of yourself. You
Thank you,
don't
Lord.
want to live a life and say at the very end, gosh, I woulda, coulda, shoulda when you
Exactly.
did it. So
Yes.
thank you very much. Have a fantastic week, and we will see you next week on To Be Your Own Hero. Thank you.